Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy Stevie Jobber.
And it's your boy Dangerous Duke.
And welcome back to the Dangerous Jobbers podcast, putting wrestling over one podcast at a time.
Yes, sir.
And today we are doing one of our special new games, Push Developmental Fire. And this is going to be a special one because we have a special guest who I was told was at the Elimination Chamber,
Mm-hmm.
which is so awesome. So Duke, introduce us to our new guest.
Yeah, so like Stevie said, this is a new game we started. This is, I believe, the second game that we've done. The first one was just myself and Stevie,
Mm-hmm.
and we had to get us a special guest for this one. We've been talking back and forth, trying to figure out when we can get this person on, and we made it happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Nadia, aka the Little Monster. How's it going?
I'm doing good. Hi, everybody.
Hey, glad you could be on. We've been trying to get you
Yay.
on. We finally were able to make it happen.
Woo!
Yeah, this is gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
Yeah, so before we get started, before we jump into these picks, Nadia, why don't you let the people know who you are, what you're
sure.
fond of, and what got you into wrestling?
Sure. So my name is Nadia. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Canadian, French Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
And I love collecting Funkos. I collect wrestling stuff. Not all of it, but I'm a picky collector. I'm a very picky collector. So I collect just things that I love. And also I love shopping. I love going downtown in Montreal, go check out some stores and cool stuff. Wrestling started with my dad. I was 3 years old when he made me watch wrestling. I saw him watching wrestling. I was like, "What are you watching?" I was like, "Oh, wrestling." I was like, "What is that?" He's like, "Come sit down, you'll see." So I watched it. I was like, "Oh my God, it's so cool." Then my mom came in. She's like, "Oh no, what did you do?"
He
Because
took you down the
wrestling
rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because wrestling in my family it's something popular because my parents went to see wrestling in the town where I am is Verdun, and they used to go to the Verdun Auditorium, and that
Mm-hmm.
wrestling was very popular. That's I don't know if you know this, but that's where Andre the Giant did his very first Canadian appearance
Wow.
in my
Hey.
hometown. Yeah, my dad, I think my mom too, but my dad saw him, he met him because my grandfather knew some wrestling promoters and everything. So he was able to get all the time for the tickets and other stuff. My parents also went to the Montreal Forum where a lot of wrestling was there as well. Also, the Bell Center that was Molson Center before that, where we know what happened 97. So
Mhm.
that I will always remember. My dad ordered the pay-per-view when we watched it. We ordered it 97 Survivor Series. Yeah, that was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I,
awesome.
Yeah,
I know exactly what
yeah,
you're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. And I have lots of DVDs. I still have all of my magazines that I bought when they had some. I even sometimes when I go to conventions and I saw like one time I saw this booth had old school magazines. I think I bought 10 or 12 bucks of magazines. There were $2 each. I was like taking, take.
Yeah, that's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So
Funny. Sorry.
you're good. So again, before we get started, thanks for letting us know, how you got into wrestling and everything. But before we get started, just let the people know where they can find you and where they can interact with you.
Okay, so you can find me on YouTube, Nadia aka Little Monster. You can find me on Instagram, Nad underscore little underscore monster underscore. You can check out my photos that I have there and other things. And yeah.
Awesome. All right. So I think with that being said, it's time we jump right into the game. Who wants to go first? Stevie, you want to take the first one?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and swing the first one.
All right.
So I went with tag teams for this one.
Okay.
And I was just trying to think of some solid tag teams that were along the same lines that might be a little hard to choose from.
Okay.
Wait 1 second. I went on the wrong page of my notes.
So many notes, right? So many
So many
notes.
notes. Okay, so I went with Eminem. It was
Okay.
kind of from the 2000s. Joey Mercury, and
Yeah.
and John Morrison.
Mm-hmm.
When they were with Melina.
Yep.
I went with TNA, who's a little further back. It was Test and
Mm.
Albert
Mm-hmm.
when they
Dang.
had Trish Stratus,
Okay.
and Pretty Deadly, who I feel are probably the newest versions of that cloth of wrestler tag team
Oh.
that's just kind of flashy and talented. So what are we doing here? Push,
Oof.
developmental, and fire.
Hmm.
Dang, that's hard.
See, I'm a little biased towards two of these teams for different reasons. All right, so for me, I'm gonna fire just because I'm biased, I'm gonna fire TNA.
Wow. They're the Canadian team. You know that.
Yes, I do, but I'm biased, and you'll understand why I'm biased. Um, maybe I can't fire them. You know what? No, I can't fire them. All right, so we're gonna fire Pretty Deadly. We're gonna develop TNA,
Okay.
and I'm gonna push Eminem just because even when Eminem came out, I was a huge John Morrison, Johnny Nitro fan. So just based off of that, we're gonna push Eminem. We're gonna developmental TNA, and then we're gonna fire Pretty Deadly. Because you said Pretty Deadly, and I got it confused with a different team. Because Pretty
Oh,
Deadly is
okay.
the NXT team, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Pretty Deadly is the NXT team.
Don't ask me why I was mixing up Breezango.
That would have been a good one too, though. That would have been a good
Yeah,
one
I
too,
was
though.
if it was Breezango, then it would have been TNA gotta go, but no.
Yeah,
The
Breezango was a good sub,
pretty
but I
deadly can
like Pretty
go.
Deadly.
No, for me, pretty deadly can go.
All right, what are your thoughts, Nadia?
I'm pushing Eminem because they were amazing together. I think Developmental would be pretty deadly because I think they're cool, pretty deadly. I watch them and I think they're pretty cool how they are.
Mm-hmm.
And sadly, I fired TNA because yeah, they were a pretty good team, but they didn't have a good. For me, I think they didn't have a good chemistry. There was something that didn't connect. With
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
yes, there was Trish Stratus, but there's nothing to connect with. Yes, they had good. They had this rivalry with the Hardy Boys and Lita and everything, but I don't know. I
I,
wasn't a fan of them.
I think for me, the only reason I was saying developmental for them was because I see the potential in Test,
Mm.
Yeah,
not so much Albert because he was already floundering through a few characters, but I seen
yeah,
potential in him. So
yeah.
that's what leaned me towards developmental for that team.
I bet. Yeah,
But
I
I agree with
understand.
you. TNA didn't have a lot to actually connect with.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
I watch Pretty Deadly from time to time. They're one of the tag teams down there. I keep up with them and the
yeah,
Creed brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Pretty Deadly. They got a lot of character, but
yes,
they got a lot of in ring to back it up. And I
yes.
Yeah.
love those kind of teams. It reminds me of Edge and Christian.
And their mic skills are way better than Tess and
Way
Albert.
better.
Oh
Way
yeah.
better.
Way better.
I'll give them that. For the in ring might kind of be, give or take, depending on
Yeah.
the day, but the mic work, yeah, no, Pretty Deadly has leaps and bounds better mic work than TNA did.
All right. Well, that's my first one, guys. Who's gonna go next? You want to take it, Duke? You want to go, Nadia? Who wants to
Okay, I'll
go?
go.
All right, let's see what
It's
you got.
women wrestlers, the women.
Okay.
Luna Vachon,
Mm,
China, and Sable.
wow. That's a good first
Hmm.
one. Luna Vachon, China, and Sable. Oh man.
I feel like I go kind of fast on these, so I'm gonna go first. And I feel like this one I think I'm pretty pretty certain on. So I'm gonna fire Sable. I never liked Sable.
You never liked Sable?
I never liked Sable. There was nothing ever that Sable did that I enjoyed.
Okay.
Not the Vince McMahon stuff,
Wow.
not the Playboy thing, anything, nothing. I was just never a Sable fan. Um, we're gonna again the bias in me. We're gonna developmental Luna, and then we're gonna push China.
You said how I thought in my head. How
Mm.
you said it, it's clear, clear, clear.
Like it's a
Mm.
toss up between Luna and China because
Yeah.
sometimes it could go either way just depending
Yeah,
on the time. But me personally, I would push China more than I would push Luna.
yeah.
Okay.
Because Luna, I loved her how she was. She was so different than everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I watched her Dark Side of the Ring, and it's sad what happened to her because of Sable.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, like I was never a Sable fan, and I there's been stuff that came out about Sable for a while now. So, and then
That is true too.
if I'm not mistaken, Sable was the one who she was married to Mark Marrow at first, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And see, I love Mark Marrow, so
Naturally.
that just gives you even more.
I like Mark Merrill too. Okay. I understand that. I feel like there was um if you're looking at it blindly, there was a certain period of time where she was probably one of um the more aggressive in ring in her time.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, there are like surrounding negativities, you know.
Yeah.
So I think I'll agree with you guys. I think I push China because you got to push China.
All
Oh
right,
yes.
so it's all this, so it's pretty much all the same all the way through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All
And I
right.
can't wait for her WWE Legends because I know
Mm.
that they did a WWE Legends. I DVR Jack the Snake Robert because I'm gonna watch it a little bit maybe tomorrow. But I can't wait for her because we'll be able to like understand how everything happened to her, the beginning to end and everything.
Mm.
So I can't wait for that.
Oh, who's getting one? China?
Yeah, she has one.
Oh,
She
uh,
deserves one. Oh, she deserves
oh
one.
yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
I watched her documentary that they made for with the people from Dark Side too. So,
Oh
but the
yeah,
Legends one will be a lot less heartbreaking than that.
I bet.
Um, but I'm waiting for it too. The A&E does so good with these shows.
mm-hmm.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
So good.
Like the one of Lex Luger, that one I
Mm.
really, really loved it because they were very honest about how Lex Luger was. And even the other ones as well. I watched the NW one and that one was pretty good as well.
Yeah, they tend to do good when they come when it comes up to them wrestling, telling the old
Yeah.
stories of wrestlers from back then. They tend to
And
do
the
it pretty.
rivals, that one I
Rivals is amazing
Yeah,
too.
love. The
yeah.
Rivals is amazing too.
the next one that they're showing tonight is Mankind versus Undertaker. That one I can't
That's
wait
gonna
for
be
that one.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know
And
what?
I feel like it's a great way for people like Mrs. Jobber doesn't hasn't kept up with wrestling quite as much as we have. So I'm trying to find new ways to introduce her to some of like the classic rivalries and
That's good.
some of the
Yeah.
big people of our era inside of an hour.
Yeah.
And those are like great shows
Yeah,
Yes, they are.
because they tell it so like they capture the emotions we felt when we were
Yeah.
watching it.
Yeah. And Freddie Prince Jr. is a good host.
I
He's
love
a
Freddie Prinze
great
Jr.
host.
I
can't go
love
wrong
Freddie
with
Prinze
Freddie.
Jr.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So Duke, what's your first one?
All right, you know what? I had something for my first one, but Nadia brought up Mankind, so I'm gonna go with a different one for my first one. So
Okay. Sorry about that.
we have Mick Foley,
Mm-hmm.
Dusty Rhodes,
Mm.
Roddy Piper.
Oh no.
Push one, fire one,
No,
send one to developmental.
you can't
Um,
fire one. I'm sorry, you can't fire any of them.
That's
They're
the
oh
just
point.
who
man,
It's gotta be hard hitting ones.
I
I'm
know,
between a
I
heel and a
know.
hard place. Um,
Uh, uh,
okay, I'll go first. I
okay,
think
Mm-hmm.
go.
I'll buy Nadia some time. I think man, because if I'm a promoter at the time, like when all these guys are hot at the same time,
Yep.
I feel like I'm making an impossible decision. Because naturally, I would fire Roddy. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I'm thinking about if you're a promoter at that time, there is no bigger draw as far as heels than Roddy Piper, unless you had like Ric Flair. But
Yes.
Roddy Piper was the only like smoking hot like heel at that time. So you would probably go with one of the faces, but Mick and Dusty is almost impossible to choose because they're the same. They're like the same kind of story. The Mix is
Mm-hmm.
just a little grittier than Dusty's is, and they're both so good at being underdogs.
Yes.
Oh, but who do you fire? You can't fire Mick Foley.
That's why it's difficult, man.
Oh
Th
man, he's
when
got
I
kids, man.
they both
Oh,
do.
They both do.
oh man, Dusty's got kids. You can't fire Dusty.
That's see
Oh
that's
man.
where it gets tough, man. You gotta do you do,
Uh,
do you pick both the baby faces? Do you fire one baby
I'm
face?
gonna pick both the
Heel?
baby faces. I'm
Really?
firing Roddy Piper.
Really?
I'm firing Roddy Piper because, and I'll tell you why.
Oh,
Because I'm firing Roddy Piper because, and I'm gonna developmental Mick Foley. I'm gonna push Dusty Rhodes. I'm gonna push the American Dream. Um, I'm gonna developmental Mick Foley because I feel like Mick is one of the only guys that can be a bad guy and a good guy. And if I can get him to elite Mick Foley status and then push him, he can be a heel at first and then become a baby face.
okay.
So I'll save Mick because I can use Mick both ways. I can only have Roddy be heel. Roddy's just not as good as a baby face. But I can go both ways with Mick Foley. But there's no Mick. I feel like Dusty's too hot. Dusty's like Cody now, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
but bigger in that time. So I'm gonna push Dusty.
All
What
right.
about you? What about you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so pushing Dusty, that's for sure. Because you cannot touch Dusty. How
He's
my
untouchable.
skills, everything about him, magic, for sure.
Mm,
I'm sorry, but develop that I'm developing Rowdy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
I love Rowdy Piper, and I think for me, I liked him as a face. I thought that he drew the crowd, even though he was a face. I thought he drew crowds as well because his mic his mic skills were good heel and face.
mm,
Like he knew how to captivate people even though he was a heel or a face. Like he said a lot of stories that he almost got killed because of what he did when he was a heel. So,
Yeah.
and when he became a face, I think a lot of people were happy that when he became a face and everything because I think he's pretty good, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
Sally, I it breaks my heart to fire Mick Foley, but for me, reason why I fire him because of their status and his status. It's like
mm,
it's
mm,
it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But But Mick Foley is still a great performer, great on mic skills and everything. But because if I was the promoter, I would get the big names, and
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So I guess I was the one that's gonna have to be the heel in all this
Who are you
because,
firing?
well, I was gonna fire Mick. Mick was my obvious choice
Oh,
to be
okay.
fired,
All right.
but I was gonna push Roddy
oh, that's good.
and I
Okay.
was gonna developmental Dusty just for the fact that I would believe that if I developed Dusty enough, Dusty could be the one to take the title from Roddy and be the new guy.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
That's the route.
good.
he's long
That's the
term
route I
booking.
was thinking. Yeah, that's the
That's
way I. That's the route I
that's
was going.
really good. It's still good because it's like if you want to developmental him, it makes it like, even though he has great mic skills, to make it greater mic skills.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And it's not even so much as a developmental for him. It's a developmental for the story in the future.
The storylines and
Okay.
feud. Okay, not the character, but for the feud
Yeah.
and the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
That's smart thinking. That's smart thinking.
Yeah. But that's where I was going with it. So
Okay.
Stevie, you got the next one.
Yes. So this one is gonna be all um shifty mid Carters.
Shifty mid Carters. Okay.
So this is all mid Carters who just don't seem to be going anywhere. All right. Your choices are Madcap Moss,
Okay.
Elias,
Oh, okay.
and Baron Corbin.
I go
Push,
first
Okay.
developmental, fire. Nadia, what do you got?
for me TV. Bush Elias, Developmental Mad Cost, M- M- Moss, and Fire Baron Corbin.
Why are you firing Baron Corbin?
I hate him. There's there's nothing to do with him. The only thing like, if I would kept him in developmental, he would lucky. I would I would say you're going back to the lone wolf because that was his best character.
It was.
Nail on the head. Best character
Yeah.
was Lone Wolf Baron Corbin.
Yeah, he was amazing in NXT. He was amazing how he was. Like his entrance, the music and everything.
The red lighting and
Oh, that was perfect. Like when he walked and the spotlights and everything, that
mhm,
was perfect.
it was beautiful.
The reason why I push Elias because I think that his character is amazing with the funny story of Ezekiel, his brother. I remembered I saw him live. It was in April of 2019 when Kofi Kingston was champion and everything, and I saw him live, and I thought he was pretty cool to see him live and everything, and and his mic skills are still good how he is and everything, and what I like about him is that heel or face he captivates the crowd so well, like
Hmm.
like everybody are yelling really. They're, yeah, we love, and then when he comes and does a curveball and says something bad of their team, now they're booing him straight. So
Hmm.
I love how he can captivate the people, how he says his things.
Yeah,
Madcap
he's got
Mod,
a lot of
oh,
control.
sorry about that.
No,
Yeah,
no, go ahead.
he has a good control. You're
Tell me
so
about
right.
Madcap.
I think that I saw him wrestle live on SmackDown. I went to SmackDown as well, and he has potential.
Hmm.
He's a good wrestler, but sadly, the people were more for Gunther than Madcap. Sadly, there's a totally understandable because of that. Because sadly, the match there was it wasn't believable that he could beat him.
Yes.
That's sad about that. But I think that if you develop his character, his mic skill, and also with his girl, I think there's something that could happen really great with him and Emma.
Mm-hmm.
If they do a good story with it, I think that he would get something pretty good with that.
All right,
Yeah.
Duke, what do you think? I happen to believe that Madcap has needed help to get over for quite a while. Because I remember him from back when he was in NXT. Now seems like his best shot, but he's got a good way to go. He's got a good way to go. And you hit it right on the head. He needs a better character. He needs some better mic skills. I feel like he's always been good in the ring, but everything else has been a problem.
Yeah.
So Duke, I'm curious to see where you go with this.
Can I fire all three?
No,
Wow.
and that's the
You
difficult
are.
part of it. That's the
Ooh.
difficult part of it.
Ooh. All right.
Because if you're
Ooh.
someone that's as nitpicky as I am,
No, I
there's
got
a
it.
reason for all three of them to just
All
not
right.
want to do
You're
anything.
mean.
But to
You're
I
have
got it.
to
mean.
make the choice between who do you actually put some faith in
No, I think I
is
got it.
the hard part.
I think it's fairly easy. Um, Corbin, I'm firing. It's it. Nadia said it. His best character was the lone wolf character, obviously, and not only that, the dude had just had so many character changes
Mm-hmm,
already. Like
mm-hmm.
he's been on what main roster for I want to say 6 years now, five, six,
It's
seven
been
years
quite a
maybe.
while.
And I just did the
It's like
math.
corporate Corbin.
Yeah, like I did the math. He's had like six character
Yeah.
changes in the time he's been up here. He went from Lone Wolf to the random one character. Then he was Happy Corbin. Then he was Broke Corbin. He was Constable Corbin. And now he's this Corbin with JBL, and he's not even with JBL anymore. So I'm firing Corbin. I think that experiment's
Over.
over. Like it's beyond over.
Just don't see it.
Beyond over. I love that.
Madcap, I developmental Madcap just because it's still kind of early for him. His in ring is okay. He mic work he needs to improve. I think he's got to improve his gear. He's got a good thing going with Emma right now as his valet, but his character just as a whole is kind of like vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But I could potentially see something there with him. And then Elias, solid in the ring, pretty good with his character work, really good on the mic, and he can get a crowd behind him just on the drop of a dime. So whether he's a heel or face, he can get a crowd working. So for me, I push Elias.
I'm slightly different from the two of you. I'm firing Madcap Moss. I just yes, he has a lot of potential, but I've been watching him have a lot of potential for so many years. I just feel like I'll let you get your potential somewhere else. I don't need it.
Yeah, but this,
And I don't want to waste the developmental years on seeing if it'll come out or not. I'd rather you fight it out on the indies, find something, and then maybe we can capitalize on that later.
okay.
Um, I'm gonna push Elias because he's got that connection.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the connection and he's got the in-ring work. Um, he's got the in-ring work to last.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be great. It's not over the moon, but it's enough to last with some main eventers. So
Mm-hmm.
I would push Elias and I would developmental Corbin after telling him to stay home for like 3 months and grow his hair back. Stay home, grow your hair for 3 months, get your hair back, make it long, and then we'll bring you back to NXT as the Lone Wolf.
Okay.
You've been on your own, you've been to the mountaintop, and you've been dropped like a bad habit. You know, you've been broke, you've been rich, you've been in charge, you've been unemployed. You've lost everybody now. Back to Lone Wolf Corbin. You've just been on the streets until Shawn Michaels said, come back to work. You know?
Yeah, and
That's
you could
very
actually
true.
make that like a full circle story for him.
Exactly. And
Yes,
that's a story you can make full circle. Now
Okay.
I
you found your
understand.
roots. Now you know what it's like to fail. Now you're back to who you know you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Look at you being the good guy Booker while I'm out here being the bad guy. Usually it doesn't work this way. Usually it's the opposite way around.
No, yeah, usually he's seeing the light in people, and I'm like, nah, get him out of here. But yeah, so that's me. Where are we at now? Is this back to Nadia?
Yeah, it's back to Nadia.
All right.
Okay, we're gonna switch things. We're gonna do managers.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a first.
So we're
That is a
gonna
first.
do Paul Bear,
Mm,
Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Heyman, but it's not Paul Heyman. It's Paul E. Dangerously.
dangerously.
Yes,
Mm.
not Paul Heyman, WWE. We're going way back in his beginning with the cell phone that he had.
I do love that
Hmm.
Paul Heyman. I do love that Paul Heyman. It's pre ECW Paul, but it's a very good Paul.
Yeah, it's pre
I remember
WCW, Dangerous Alliance,
I
and
remember
everything.
Dangerous
And
Alliance. And Dangerous Alliance had legends all in it.
oh,
Mm. Man.
yes,
So many legends.
Whew.
And it's between him, it's between Paul Bearer, and it's between who's
Bobby
the
the
other one?
Brain Heenan.
Bobby the Brain. Bobby the Brain.
Hmm.
That's the difficult one.
It is.
That's the difficult one. But you got to consider you can't before you think of firing Paul Bearer, you're firing pretty much the man who made sure the Undertaker got over. So if
Yeah.
you
So
fire
that
him, this
that
Undertaker thing might fall.
Yeah,
This it might not launch the way it's supposed to. Who's to say Taker had those mic skills that early? I'm not betting that.
mm,
I think Taker talking on his own might be a bad thing for those early years.
you know what? I think I have mine.
okay.
And I'm sorry, but I'm I'm pushing Paul Bearer because if we don't have Paul Bearer, we don't not only do we not have Undertaker, we don't have Kane.
Mm. Mankind also fails along the way.
So oh see, but I already fired Mick. So no, I'm joking. No, no, but we're keeping Paul Heyman or not Paul Heyman. We're keeping Paul Bearer. We're pushing him because without him, we get no Undertaker, we get no Kane, and we need
Mhm.
them both.
Need them both.
We're gonna develop.
Here we go.
We, we're gonna develop Bobby the Brain Heenan.
No, you fired
Yeah,
Paulie.
yeah. I'm sorry, and I love Paulie, but man, too many bounce checks, man. You gotta go.
Too many bounce checks. That's a good one.
And this is
That's a
pre
good one.
WCW Alliance, pre ECW, but no, Paulie gotta go. Sorry,
Oh
we.
man.
I don't have it in me to fire Bobby the Brain. I just don't. So we gonna
Okay.
we're gonna develop Bobby the Brain Heenan and Paul Lee gotta go.
I love Paulie, man.
So do I, but man, tough decisions had to be made.
I'm going to
We call it budget cuts.
ooh. I'm gonna develop
Furry.
I'm gonna develop mental Paul Bearer.
Okay.
And
Whoa.
because I'm gonna develop mental Paul Bearer with the Undertaker.
Okay.
So that by the time that developmental is over, the Undertaker can talk on his own.
That's good.
Nice
I'm gonna
loophole.
push. I'm gonna push. This is a tough one. I think my heart wants to push Paul Heyman
But
because
here,
ECW. I'm from Philly.
uh,
So am I, but
This is the
hey,
father of ECW that I'm about to send out the door. It depends on like what time like I wish I knew, I wish I could call it
hey, even Michael
because
Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team. You
because
gotta get cut before you can blossom.
if this is peak um if this is peak Bobby the Brain, I can't fire him at like Andre the Giant manager status. That's too deep, you know?
man, it's just
But if it's like the tail end of that, then I'm like, all right, you can go because Heyman's on the upswing. Heyman's on the upswing. Um, I'm gonna fire Bobby the Brain.
Oh,
I'm gonna
hmm.
fire Bobby the Brain because I'm ushering in a new era. All right. Paul Bear is getting out of here as soon as the Undertaker learns to talk. And I need my managers gritty. I'm gonna I'm gonna keep Paulie dangerously.
Mm.
I'm gonna move out the '90s into the 2000s myself with
Man,
managers.
man.
Gritty, bright colored, phone holding managers.
At least he's managing and not booking. At
You know,
least
he
he
has a
ain't.
mobile
At least he
phone.
ain't got to worry about writing them
He's
checks.
he's going right. He's just managing. He's not writing any checks. Right. And I save a bunch of wrestlers from bad checks because he's just gonna manage, you know.
Exactly.
All right,
All
Duke.
right.
What do you got? That was
All
really
right.
good. That
That
was
that
really
was a
good,
good
man.
one.
Thank
We
you.
had to think on that.
Yeah, we've never done managers, and that was really tough.
All right. So I'm going tag teams here,
Okay.
but it's tag teams with multiple people.
okay.
We got the BWO, Blue World Order,
Oh,
I've seen the Blue Meanie live so many times.
3 minute warning,
oh,
Oh, I love 3 minute warning.
right to censor.
Oh, okay.
So it's three groups that nobody really liked, but
You should have
you gotta
added the job squad in there too.
you gotta figure out who to push, who to develop, and who to fire between Blue World Order, right to censor, and 3 minute warning.
And you got to think of who to push.
Yeah, who to push, who to develop, who to fire.
Which of these tag teams are you going to say, I don't care what you feel, these are at the top? These are the guys.
I think
Oh,
I
do
got
you
it.
want Blue Meanie holding down your tag division? Is that what you want?
Hollywood Nova doing this thing.
I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pushing right to censor
Okay.
because the reason why, because I thought how they did it was great. And they like yes, not Bull, was it Bull or was Val
Bull
Venus?
Buchanan?
Bo Buchanan.
Yeah.
Bull Buchanan was in there, yeah.
And with Val Venus, right? No.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Val Venus was
Yeah, he
also in there.
was with Stevie Richard,
Yep.
the good
The
father,
Good
and
Father.
Ivy. The thing is, what was good is that yes, Bull wasn't good at the mic, but you had the other ones that were
That helped
good
it.
on the mics.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
the Godfather, when he was the Godfather, he knew how to talk. So when he became the good father, he knew how to strength everything of what
Yeah.
he did and being just good. And Ivory, how she was, she really knew how to speak, how to really have a good character.
She knew
Val
how to be
Venus,
so naturally mean.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
she knew how to
The,
do
the
that.
the mannerisms.
Yes. And Stevie Richard, he's great on the mic, how he is. And even Val Venus, same thing. So I think it's good to push them because they have what they have what it takes to go against good teams, and they did. They even won tag team titles, so they were good.
Mm-hmm.
For me, Developmental would be 3 minute warning. The reason why is because they were great together, how they were. And the thing is, if both of them would still be alive, that would have been the greatest thing that we could ever see on television right now. The biggest Samoan bloodline
Mm-hmm.
dynasty, that was
Mm-hmm.
been amazing
Mm-hmm.
to see all of them because Rosie and Jamal or Umaga, they were great. And I think that with more, they had the ring skills because
Mm-hmm.
for their how they had good ring skills still. Even when Jamal was Umaga, he had the ring skills.
Yeah.
He knew how to he knew how to wrestle how he was. He knew how to really wrestle, and I love how he was. And even Rosie, just maybe for sure, I would tell him to do more conditioning just to be able to be have more cardio because I bet for sure he would have been way
Blown up
better
a lot.
because Sally of his weight, he would have been greater, being able to do better skills and everything, just to tone and have more cardio. Because when you wrestle, you need cardio when you wrestle. Because if you don't have cardio, that's when your heart can do things and your
Mm-hmm.
lungs can do things. And
Yeah.
that mic skills for sure. And they would be off the charts.
Mm-hmm. They
Like,
would have really developed better together with some time.
oh yeah, and also like when like saying NXT, and if they had Solo with them or something,
Mm-hmm.
they would have been like perfect
Off the
together.
charts.
Damn, having
Oh
Solo with
yeah.
them in a 3 minute. Oh, that'd be
Oh, they
beautiful.
would have been awesome. Like
Mm-hmm.
You start a
like
whole different bloodline feud, a whole different bloodline feud right there.
oh yeah, that would have been crazy. Like having all three having a face tattoo like they had together and everything. That would have been or something.
Damn.
And sadly, I have to fire the Blue World Order, and the reason why I never got to see them wrestle, and I know
Mm-hmm.
who they are, but I don't care for them. I know who Blue Meanie is because of the job spot, but that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah,
Shout out to the Job Squad.
Yeah, shout out
yeah.
to the Job
I
Squad.
Sadly I don't care for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hearing your reasoning, man, that makes so much sense. I'm actually gonna agree with you on all of those fronts. And I love Stevie Richards, but I love Right to Censor Stevie Richards more than the BWO Stevie Richards. I just love Stevie Richards. I have such a passion for Stevie Richards. He's the
Oh, he
man.
was good.
He is the man. Um, and Right to Censor was so it was so good. It was so good. It was so over. It was so easily hateable.
Yes, and
From the theme
hateable. Yeah.
song to the dress, like to the button ups and the just the from the good father, like turning the people we loved into these people we gotta hate now.
Yeah.
And they just capitalized on such
Mm-hmm.
a niche thing. They were so good. And I would love to see them battling it out with the upper card and holding the tag titles and the women's title and going for like the intercontinental title or having a good shot at the world title where we think for just a second it would have to be like the most bad, it would have to be like Steve Austin or somebody, so
Mm-hmm.
it could be really, so we can have a lot of fun with it,
Oh
but
yeah.
at least like one good shot at it where we think maybe Stevie Richards really could do this, and then of course it doesn't work. But
Yeah.
Man.
but just, those feel like the guys that if you're really gonna go hard, these might be the ones to do it because of the genuine heat that they would have. And every week knowing you would have to hear that alarm clock sound is
Yeah.
just, oh my goodness.
Like, yeah.
It was so horrible.
Oh
You know
And
yeah.
what?
I would definitely develop 3 minute warning because like she said, they are Samoans at the end of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
with the right conditioning, with the right time, we've seen it before. Anything is possible, especially knowing that one of them becomes Umaga, and Umaga is just legendary. And that
Oh
all
yeah.
of that is living in Solo now. So
You know
Oh
what?
yes.
I can't even be mad that I had to change my pick too. It got changed to what you said, so I had to change it. But I
Nadia
can't
just
even
made so much
I
sense.
can't even be mad at that one. I really can't. That one hit the nail on the head.
And think about this. I think if they really wanted to, and not to fantasy pitch here, but if they really wanted to, there's so many Samoans that they could really continue the bloodline. Like they could have started the bloodline years ago
Yeah.
and just kept reincarnating it like the Bullet Club if they wanted to, because there's just so many Samoans.
And just
Yeah,
think,
and you
It
can
could go
have
imagine.
on forever.
imagine Tamina if she was in it, because she
Hmm.
was with the Usos because she's cousins with them because of her dad because
Right.
he's Samoan as well. He has a connection with them, so it would have been cool if she continued, because when they debuted they were together,
Mm-hmm.
and that was awesome. They should have kept them together, and it would have been cool if they recruited her with the plotline because that would have been
I absolutely agree.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
absolutely agree. The one time they gave Tamina a real shot at the title, I thought she could have won because she was so
Yes.
good on the internet. She was so good in the promos,
Oh
and
yeah.
she was really putting it down in the ring. And I
Was
thought
it
she had a
against
legitimate
Natalia?
chance. I think it was Natalia.
And I
Um,
knew she had a chance against Beth Phoenix too. She had
mm.
two tries.
And but she was so good, and they didn't give it to her. And I feel like she really deserves some belts. Like her and Natalia was good, but I felt like there could have been such a real moment made with Tamina that they've never given her a fair
They
shake at.
failed. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully Nia Jax comes back to realize that
Oh
truth
no, no,
full time. I
no,
mean, I
no,
know
no.
I know there's a thing, but
We don't need her.
I like the two of them together. Or we figure out what we're doing with the rock star.
Oh yeah, that's gotta be that's a
Do you
conversation for
watch
another day.
Schism? Are you interested in Schism?
Schism, yes.
Yes. Okay. Is she doing well?
Yes, she is. I like what she's doing. I like how she is. Like, I think how she is. She needs more time, but she's growing, and her mind skills, how she is perfect. How she is.
Mm.
She's I see that she's developing her character, and I think she's doing really well. Like she's having this thing with the girl from Chase U, and I think it's awesome. She's scaring her. She's like, "Oh my God, you're in my mind," and everything. I think it's perfect how they're doing it, and I think when we'll see her in the ring, I think we'll see if she really has potential or not. It's when we'll see her in the ring if she has potential or not. But I think she has.
So
Okay, that's great to hear.
you see the flashes pretty much.
Hmm?
You it's like you see the flashes of what she could be.
Yes,
A lot of
Okay.
she could
potential.
be really good.
Okay.
Okay. All right. We'll do what's your second? And then I think we got one more round.
That was my second, the BWO, and
Oh, okay, right. The
yeah.
BW.
So it's back to you now.
Oh, okay. All right.
So this one's your third,
Last
I
one.
think. Yeah.
All right. This one's the big dogs. All right. Cody Rhodes,
Mm-hmm.
Bryan Danielson, Sami Zayn.
Oh no. Oh God.
Push, developmental, fire.
Oh God.
All right. So give me those names again.
Give it to you again. All
Yeah.
right. I'll try to make it harder the second time. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes.
Okay.
The man fighting Roman Reigns, the greatest champion of our
Oh my
time,
God.
and
Mm-hmm.
in a little under a month or over a month, depending.
Mm-hmm.
Or the planet's champion, the underdog, the man that started the Yes movement,
Okay.
Bryan Danielson of
Brian
the
Danielson.
Blackpool Combat Club,
Okay.
whose wife has been on multiple reality shows. Not that I don't know if that's a plus or a minus, but
Minus. Minus.
minus.
Minus.
He was in Team Hell No with Kane.
That was awesome.
That was
That
awesome.
was
That was
awesome.
a good period of time. We're talking bad beat Triple H Randy Orton and Batista in the same night. Bryan
Mm-hmm.
Danielson or Sami Zayn, the
I
crack
got
in
it.
the bloodline.
Oh,
The man that
he has it.
stole
Yes.
Montreal's heart at Elimination Chamber. The only other bearded man to go up against the system. It controlled the entire stadium. The biggest baby face on the planet, at least in Canada.
Shut up.
In the
No, I
States
mean
too.
it's probably all across the world, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Some places might be
You
more
know, I'm
Cody Rhodes.
kidding when I'm saying that.
You know
Some
what?
people might be a little more Cody Rhodes than Sami Zayn, but I feel like Sami, at least if he's not, he's definitely in the conversation of being like the best baby face in the industry. Who do you fire? Who do you show the door? Never come back.
Easy.
Easy?
I'm gonna get hate for it, but it's easy.
Oh no. What's he gonna do?
We're gonna push Cody. The story is there, so you got to do it.
We're pushing Cody Rhodes.
The only reason I'm not gonna push Sammy, and I'm gonna send, and you know what? Before I even say it, the only reason I'm not gonna push Sammy is because there's someone else that you and me have discussed this. I think there's somebody else that this is all gonna be about within a month or a couple months from now. So we're gonna push Cody to get the chance to fight for the title. We're firing Bryan Danielson. My guy, you've had too many concussions, bro. It's okay. You great. You done your thing. Just relax. Stay home with the kids for a little while. Do your thing. Be a family man. You don't need to get hurt. You got your flowers. You the man.
Mm.
And we're gonna develop Sami Zayn because we can't fire Sammy. Sammy's white hot right now. Sammy's on fire. But I feel like we're just gonna develop Sammy because I think eventually you both seen you both seen what was it, WandaVision?
Yes, I have seen WandaVision.
No.
Oh, you didn't watch? All right, so it's a Marvel thing. It's a TV show. So Stevie, you'll know what I'm talking about. The song "It's Been Agatha All Along."
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I don't think this has been about Sammy, and I don't think it's gonna be about Sammy in the end. I think it's been Jay Uso all along. So I'm gonna
We
develop
both agree on
Sammy.
that.
I'm gonna develop Sammy because I can't fire Sammy. I just don't have it in my
You
heart to
can't
fire
fire
Sammy.
Sammy. You
We're
can't fire
gonna
Sammy.
we're gonna push Cody just because of the story thing with his dad, and it's a proud moment. And I'm gonna fire Bryan Danielson just because you've had enough injuries. You've proven yourself as one of the greatest technical wrestlers of our time.
Of all time.
You're like Iron Man. We're gonna be okay. You can rest now. So we love you 3,000, but go. You can take a break. So that's my thing.
Okay. What do you think, Nadia?
I have to agree with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody, the reason why, because he has amazing mic skills. He had them since the beginning when he started, but
Mm-hmm.
not when he started, but when he was when he was with Legacy,
Yes.
Mike skills was amazing how he was, and it's really silly, but I liked him when he was dashing
I
Cody
loved him when
Rhodes.
he was dashing. It is not silly. I loved him when he was with Dashing
He
Cody Rhodes.
was amazing,
It
like
was
how
amazing.
he talked, how he was,
He was
and it
so
was
into it.
so perfect. And when he became the one with his mask and giving those paper bags, I thought it was perfect how it was.
Broken Cody was
Yeah,
great too.
that
Broken
was
Cody was
great.
so good.
Aren't
I
you
don't
glad
know
I
what
told?
you're laughing about, Duke.
Aren't you glad I told
Dashing
Nadia to
Cody
come
and
on the show
Broken
now?
Cody was amazing. He was so good. He was because he
Oh,
And
just
I
believed it. He believed he was beautiful and he
yeah,
was
and
better
I
than you. Like,
and it's so funny is that I liked him when he was with Damian Santa. I thought they were perfect together, how they
mm,
were. I thought
mm-hmm.
they were a good tag team.
I did
That
like Rhodes Scholars.
yeah.
they
I
were
did like
great.
Rhodes
I
Scholars.
thought they were
And
ridiculous, but they were good in ring.
yes, because Damien we cannot like don't say that, but he had great mic skills.
Mm-hmm.
Damien had amazing mic skills. How he was, and yeah, that Sammy for sure to develop because even though he has great mic skills and everything, I think it's just to how can I say this? I think for me, I think that to develop him and everything, but also to team to make him team with Kevin because I think that I hope that's gonna happen at WrestleMania
I
because
believe that.
I think that to have the best friends together, I thought that when they were heels together, when they were best friends, I thought it was amazing
It was
how
great.
they had their mic skills and everything was great. People were like just they were attracted to that how they were. It was amazing. Even though they were heels in Montreal, they got cheered as
Mm-hmm.
heroes, and
Mm-hmm.
Roman and Braun got booed so bad.
Mm-hmm.
How do
And
you
yes,
really quick, if they do become a tag team again and they become the new tag team champions, which could happen at WrestleMania. We don't know yet. But if they do, would you be happy if they came out the way they used to come out, where Kevin was serious and Sammy would dance all around him down to the ring? Because I
that would
still
be
feel like that
funny.
would be even funnier now than
That
it
would be
was
great.
than it
Yeah.
was
That
then.
that would be great. But they would still be faces. They would still be
Mm-hmm.
heroes, but have a serious hero and a
And
funny.
the playful one that was working with the
Yeah,
crowd.
yeah, because you you had that in baby faces and tactics. You had a serious one and you had a funny
Mm-hmm.
one. So I think that would be really cool.
And I think
And
always a classic tag team combination too.
yeah, that's for sure. It's like Rock and Sock Connection. You
Mm-hmm.
have Rock, serious, Mankind, Mick Foley, funny.
Oh man, would they be like the new Rock and Sock Connection?
That would be funny.
I could easily see Sammy making all the jokes and Kevin being like,
Like whatever.
"Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And
just here to beat
fired
you guys up."
and fired Brian Danielson. Yes, he's great, great wrestler. Mike skills, they're good. They're better than how they were, but I think that, like he says, he had too many injuries, and I do, and I think I don't want not anything badder happen to him.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
He
You
did
just don't
have
want to be responsible.
Yeah.
no because like he says to me, "I'm gonna do the match. I'm gonna do the match," and I'm like, "Okay," and then something happens, and now
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Oh, why did I did that?" and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
You just don't want to run the risk.
Yep.
yeah,
I agree with you guys, but I differ only in the point that I'm and this is where you guys are better bookers than I am because I believe in taking every what if. So I would push Sammy,
Mm-hmm.
even though it seems, and somebody made this point to me that Sammy could win, like if they pull the trigger on Sammy, but even Sammy has said he doesn't think he could really be the face.
Mm-hmm.
It might just be him holding it for 6 months and doing the runaround as champion, but he doesn't really see himself being the face of this, at least right now.
Yeah.
But I believe in if there's ever a time where you could have left going, oh man, what if? Could you imagine? You got to take that chance. And I would take that chance on Sammy just to see. Maybe it could be Mick Foley. He holds it for 3 months, he holds it for 6 months, and we put him up against monsters. And he just edges his way out for 6 months until
Every single
finally
time.
somebody takes him out again.
yeah,
And we just have him be the underdog champion for a while. But I
yeah,
feel like if there's a chance that you can, if we think the pop, if I leave thinking the pop would have been bigger if we let him win,
Mm-hmm.
I can't pass that up.
Yeah.
So I'm too much of a dreamer. I would have pushed Sammy and sent Cody to developmental. It made it part of his story, you know. He failed, so we sent him to developmental
Mm-hmm.
so he could realize who he was and adapt to the environment and blah 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 blah. But I do agree you would probably have to fire you would probably have to fire Danielson because he's already been to the mountaintop.
Yeah.
All right, and that leaves Nadia, right?
Yep.
We're back
Yep.
to Nadia.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're gonna go like staples, but dark ones,
Mhm.
really dark.
Okay.
So we're starting with House of Black, Judgment Day. So about that was my house phone.
You're good.
Okay.
So House of Black, the Judgment Day, and the Ministry of Darkness.
Um. All right. So I'm pushing Ministry of Darkness. I'm pushing Ministry of Darkness. Developing. You know what? I'm gonna developmental Judgment Day. Wait, hold on. Is this Edge Judgment Day or is this Judgment Day right now with Finn?
Right now,
All right,
This is
no
so
hard,
edge,
actually.
no edge, no
This is
edge.
no
hard.
Edge. All right, so I'm gonna push Ministry of Darkness. I'm gonna developmental Judgment Day. And I'm gonna fire the House of Black just because for me, House of Black is always it seems like it never hit. Like
Mm.
it for me, it felt like the Dark Order with Brody Lee was even it felt like Dark Order with Brody Lee hit more than House of Black did when they first got here. It felt like it hit better than House of Black now. Even Judgment Day and Ministry of Darkness, they feel like even when they were early on just starting, they stuck with me more than House of Black did.
Mm.
So I'm that alone, I'm gonna fire House of Black. And then yeah, developmental Judgment Day, because you see there's some potential there. We can probably get Finn back to world champion status. Rhea, we can already put in the women's title picture.
Hmm.
And then you never know. You could probably get a tag title run with Priest and Dom. And then Ministry of Darkness is Taker. I can't not push anything Taker's in. So we're pushing Taker.
All right. I will go on record saying before I make these choices that I believe House of Black is probably the most talented in ring out of these three groups. I
Depends.
think Aleister Black is absolutely amazing. I think Brody King is a monster, like
I mean,
really,
I do
really
love
booked
Brody
as a
King.
monster more than anybody else these days.
I do like Brody.
Brody and Braun are like the two real, like they're monsters in that ring, and maybe Samoa Joe. Um, and I think Buddy Murphy is like he had a nickname, the best kept secret, and I think he like really is the best kept secret when you look at it. He's so good. He's so good, and he never gets the chance to show it off. Um, I think you have to push the Ministry of Darkness because they were the original evil group. I think I think I'm gonna developmental House of Black because they're listen. I know they didn't connect, but they only didn't connect because of the booking. If they were booked better, they could have been so much more dominant than they are now. They could have been, tag team champions and Alistair going for the world title. They have
Yeah.
they have so much potential and they're just left there to do whatever.
Yeah. AEW does tend to mess up their groups from time to time.
And I think they're just a better trio than Finn, Damien, and Dom. So if anything, I would fire Judgment Day and get back Rhea. but that's where I'm gonna have to go.
I'm not mad at it.
All right, Duke, what do you got?
All right. So this one I was kind of just throwing stuff at a wall and see what would stick. I'm not gonna lie. But we have Authority Seth Rollins,
That was a great Seth. That was a great Seth.
AEW Kenny Omega, and 2000s Chris Jericho.
Oh,
Oh,
oh man. Oh, you kidding me? Oh,
Like
wait,
like
give me the
like
first two again.
like pre
Give me the first two.
let me like literally the debuting Chris Jericho. So it's
Yeah,
debuting
yeah,
uh,
Chris Jericho.
on Monday
yeah,
Night Raw.
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was that, like 99?
Oh my
Yeah.
All
goodness.
right, so 99 Jericho, Kenny Omega, and Authority
Oh
Seth Rollins.
man. Oh, you.
Uh,
Oh,
uh,
I'll take this one first.
okay, go
You
ahead.
push Chris Jericho. Are you kidding me? You push Chris Jericho in any situation. You push Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Oh man. Push Chris, especially 2000s Chris Jericho. Oh my God. Are you kidding? Armbar. You
What was it? The moss covered
push.
cadenza?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the three. Yeah. Oh man, you push Chris. The
That's in our
Ayatollah of rock and roller.
I didn't think that's actually in our intro.
Yes. You push we push Chris Jericho.
Okay.
Chris Jericho is gonna go down as one of the greatest minds in this business
Oh,
ever.
yes.
Chris
Totally agree.
Jericho is a gem like no other. He's not as big as Austin and Rock, but he's more special for different reasons.
Yeah.
Um, you push Chris.
Okay.
You developmental. Um, oh my God, I got so aggressive about Chris, I forgot who the other two were. You push Chris.
It's Seth and Kenny Omega.
Yes, you developmental Seth because Seth is going to be the Triple H of your era.
Mm-hmm.
Seth is not always going to be the top guy, but he's going to be a guy in whatever time period you put him in.
Mm-hmm.
And at any given moment, much like Chris Jericho, you could press the button on Seth, make him world champion, and nobody would bat an eye.
Mm-hmm.
He's much like Randy Orton in that too. That's how
Yeah.
you really know he's a Triple H kid.
Yeah, like mid
Because at
2000s Randy, yeah.
anybody that's been mentored by Triple H has become one of those guys that they don't have to be the top guy, but at any moment they could be the top guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Triple H likes to build his people. Think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I know my Triple H, but yeah, you push Chris, you developmental Seth, and you fire Kenny
Okay.
because it's especially if it's AEW Kenny, because AEW Kenny to me is not great. It's not great. I mean,
Oh,
I love Kenny.
so
Kenny's ring is
had
gonna
I
be
said,
amazing all the time.
mm-hmm.
That V trigger is scary every time you see it. The one winged angel is amazing, but character wise, AEW Kenny Omega's
But he's
eh.
the belt. He was the belt collector.
Yeah, but
Still is.
yeah, is eh. Was he that captivating as the belt collector? I mean, we watched because Kenny Omega had all the belts, but I don't know. Like you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like Y2J winning, beating The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like the heist of the century when Seth took the belt from Brock and Lesnar. I mean Brock and Roman.
So you're saying it was just because there was less like OMG moments.
Well, not that there was less OMG moments because he became the belt collector.
Mm-hmm.
He won every belt in the Indies at one point. But at the same time, it didn't feel like it was supposed to feel, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
When the heist of the century happened, you're like, man, this Seth Rollins is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When Jericho beat Rock and Austin in the same night, you were like, this slimy guy. I don't know how he pulled this off. When Kenny Omega became the belt collector, it was like it was weird because we all knew he was gonna do it, but while he was doing it, it felt like it wasn't as big as it should have
Should
been.
have been.
It should have been like Roman holding a belt for longer than anyone has in the modern era. That's what it should
Okay.
have felt like. It didn't
Okay.
feel like that.
Okay.
So if at the height of your Eunice, it just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't connect with me, you probably shouldn't be here with the other two guys.
Okay. How about you, Nadia? What you think?
Pushing Chris Jericho, that's for sure, because everything he did in WCW, but also when he started, Mike Skills, amazing how he is. He knows how to captivate people, good or bad. He knows how to take the crowd and bring the crowd to him. Like if there's nobody listening to him, he will do everything that people listen to him. He knows
Yeah.
how to captivate and hypnotize people that you are there to listen to him.
Yeah.
He knows how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's awesome. And wrestling skills, amazing. How he had so many amazing matches and everything. He was great. Seth Rollins, developmental for sure, because I think that with that he would be able to get his authority character way better than yeah, yes, his character was great, but if he had developmental, I think he would have been able to push it even further than that his
Mm-hmm.
He'd have been
character.
able to hone it more.
Yeah, and be more that like bratty kid, like that bratty kid. Like, oh, I have like for him, like Stephanie and Triple H are like mom and dad. So it's like,
Exactly.
I have mom and dad, they're helping me, blah blah blah. So he would have been able to do like that bratty, braggy, arrogant kid. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
ha, and and further his mic skills as well and everything. I think that with that would have been able to push further, and also with storylines and everything, everything he had with Roman and Brock, and even with Dean, what he did with Dean Ambrose, it was amazing what he did. it,
Mm-hmm.
it, it had an amazing feud together. It was great storytelling for sure. And I remembered I was at the movies because here in Montreal we used to go to, before pre WWE Network, we used to go to the um it was called the Scotiabank Theater, but it's the Cineplex. We used to go to the Cineplex and watch wrestling there. So
Wow.
we watched WrestleMania on a big screen. So it was really fun. So
Hmm.
we saw it when he did the heist of the century. It's like everybody was like surprised, but you heard the cheer to it.
Yes.
You
Yes.
hear the cheer. They're like,
It felt like a movie
yes,
moment.
It
finally
felt like a
someone's catching
movie.
in. Yes. It's like you have the the suspense here, and then you got the anticlimactic that's like
Mm-hmm.
something that you never thought would happen. It's like in a movie, you see something and bang, something happened that you never thought would happen. And that's what happened. And I think that's what made it cool and everything. So yeah, and Kenny Omega, sadly have to fire him because I think that he did everything what he needed to do. So yeah, he doesn't need any more title pushes or anything. So yeah.
Okay. I can respect that.
Oh, but you know what? You were gonna say something. You were gonna change the Kenny. I think you were gonna ask me if changing the Kenny would have
Oh
changed mine.
yeah, so I was gonna say, so I should have went with like Bullet Club Kenny, like New Japan Kenny.
Yeah, yeah. If you said New Japan Kenny, it might be a different story
Okay, okay.
I
because
Well,
would
that
as
still fire
I
him.
don't, I don't know. Well, I might still fire him. I might still fire him as
it
well.
just it just makes the decision a little bit
But
harder.
it make that Kenny was a little more. I felt like he was a little more charismatic.
Okay.
Yes.
Like he was a little edgier. He was a little more outside the lines. He was more. He was just more fun to watch.
Yeah.
And him being evil and being cool enough to be, like just take you when he was doing his thing. It felt so much more organic than AEW Kenny.
Okay.
And I think that's what Seth and Chris were different at. They just felt so authentically evil and funny.
Yes.
I can respect that.
All right,
So
but I think that wraps it up for us.
yeah, I think that does. So guys, that concludes our newest episode of Push Developmental and Fire. Nadia, thank you again for being on the show. We
You're
really
very
appreciate it.
welcome.
And one more time, before we jump off of here, let the people know again where they can find you.
So you can find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, Nadia, aka Little Monster.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find me on Instagram, Nad, aka Little, Nad underscore little underscore monster underscore.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah. So I think that concludes everything. As always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you stay up. Make sure you stay blessed. And as always, stay
Stay
dangerous.
dangerous.